gag me, take me to the bunny ranch. People dying, kill me in the packing house. Even you.
Are you ready?
I think now they are.
Yeah.
Or they're awake. And if you were sleeping and somehow were listening to a podcast, not the way to go about it.
Yeah. Wake up.
We're going to give you a hint. You got to wake up to listen to a podcast. And this is the podcast to listen to.
Hooray.
Apparently, it says my parents.
Yes.
Your mom.
Yeah, my mom. Yeah.
And that's it. Those are the only people who like this show.
We're catering to the right audience.
Welcome to Bunny Ears. I am Matt Cohen, joined by our star caterer to the stars.
Devin Sawa Jr. Esquire.
Junior Esquire.
Yeah.
You know what? I always thought that
He's a
kid would
lawyer.
get into law.
Yeah.
Because
He's a
you're
lawyer now.
like, you don't want to push your kids into entertainment too, right? You
Yeah.
want to let them find their own way.
Yeah, lawyers and doctors. You know?
So name your kid Devin Sawa and he will grow up to be a lawyer. Just name your kids Devin Sawa.
Yeah, I think
There's not
just
enough,
in general.
There's not enough Devin Sawas in the world.
I agree.
We're back on to Devin Sawa, apparently.
Yes, of course. It's been a while.
Take it, buddy.
It's been a while.
Mac, what do we talk about on this show? Random kind of shit all the time, right? Stuff we're into. I
Yes.
guess is the key definer of Bunny Ears.
Yeah, if you guys haven't listened to us before, go back and listen to our old ones.
Yeah, and then you'll know. Oh, if you're starting with episode like 32,
Yeah.
and you're sleeping when you try it, you're going about this podcast thing all wrong.
Completely wrong. Learn to listen to podcasts, jerks.
But we chat with friends of yours on this show often. We chat with friends of mine, and we chat with like-minded people. And today is two of those things, and hopefully the third to be determined.
Yes.
If I play my cards right.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Mac, why don't you do the intro? Because you know this guy way better than I do.
All right, it's this fucking shill over here.
You fucking shill.
You fucking shill.
See, I wouldn't have gone for that, so I'm glad I gave the intro to Mac.
Well, it's okay. You can say it too.
It's Freddie Prinze Jr., ladies
It's
and
Freddie
gentlemen.
Prinze Jr. Yay!
Hi, everybody.
How's it
Hello.
going, dude?
Hey, I just saw the Jaws display behind you, and that's like the coolest Jaws thing I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, it's
It's
a
like three-dimensional.
It's a McFarlane 3D version of the poster, but it's got like depth to it. And
Yeah,
it's
man.
pretty cool.
It's like something you would make in the first grade, but if you were Todd McFarlane, it would still look like that, even in the first grade because
It's
he's
like a
sick.
diorama.
Are you a big,
Yeah,
are you a
man.
big toy guy?
Not a big toy guy, but I like cool shit, and that's
Collectibles
cool shit.
and cool shit, right? So there's that toy documentary now on Netflix, right? Like the toys that made us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And they had Todd McFarlane on. I forget what episode it was, and all of
That guy's a sweetheart who made that show. He's this older
Toys
guy.
That Made Us guy?
Yeah, he's
Really?
just an older guy who loves
And you can
legit
feel
loves
it.
toys.
Yeah.
But he's
Oh,
like,
dude.
you want him to be your grandpa.
that's awesome.
They're doing another one. They're doing a movies that made us.
Yeah,
Like
he was
that
actually.
thing. Yeah.
He talked to me like a year ago. He wanted to do the meals that made America.
Oh, nice.
He was wondering
Yeah.
if I was interested. And I was like, man, I gotta travel all over. Man, like I quit a job because of that.
You're like, what about the meals that made us within a 2-mile radius of my house?
yeah, exactly.
Those are some good meals.
The Postmates that made us.
yeah,
The
things like
Postmates that made us.
I like that.
Netflix, we're open to pitches. You're seeing everyone else apparently. But when McFarlane was on that show talking about toys, all of like social was like, wait a minute. The Spawn Todd McFarlane is the same toy Todd McFarlane. Like
People didn't know
People
that?
didn't know.
What are the
apparently.
freaking odds? I mean,
Yeah,
come
right?
on. Like,
Well, I guess it's a generational thing, though.
Exactly, 'cause
like,
most-
we're educated on McFarlane because we saw the birth of McFarlane, so to speak.
Yeah, the whole
We
career
all-
arc.
We
Yeah.
all
Image and
saw
Spawn
Spawn on
and, yeah.
HBO, even, and then the weird movie that didn't work, but still had cool parts.
There were cool. There were definitely cool.
John
parts.
Leguizamo was super cool.
Violator or whatever, right? Yeah, the clown.
yeah. All those 3D graphics. Ooh,
But the,
boy, blew my
kids
mind.
today, just Google his ass.
Google Spawn,
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah, you guys have the
Google Todd
Wikipedias.
McFarlane.
Yeah.
Got the Googs.
Google all the things we talk about because what we found on this show, Freddie, is that we now live in a generation like none of our references play anymore
Yeah.
at all.
Well, that's what happens when you bring on guests the same age as you.
Exactly, right, exactly.
Or older.
we need to start getting that YA Hunger Games crowd. In
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
right?
Gotta get that Generation Z.
But we actually so I mean we don't need to go through your IMDb as it were, but everyone knows you as an actor primarily, right? But I knew anecdotally, and the thing that was always coolest to me was that at a certain point you stopped acting and went to write for the WWE, which I don't think a lot of people know. Is that
Yeah, man. I mean, look, I at a certain point fell in love with acting and really loved it, but I started it to kind of complete what my family wanted me to complete because of what my father sort of did.
Sure.
And in the 70s, he was a top comedian. He had the #1 show in the country. His name was Freddie Prinze, obviously. And so there was a lot of like unfinished business. And I did fall in love with it, but when I started to kind of get bored and was satisfied with the goals that I had set, it was not like
You fulfilled your destiny.
Like we were at WrestleMania together,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a bet on the main event that Mac won.
Hell yeah.
He picked the heel. Mm-hmm. You know the heels. You knew the heel was going to win. It was going to be a feel good vibe.
What Mania was it? Do you remember?
Flair's was Ric Flair's retirement.
24?
match.
So it was Flair HBK.
I think it was 24.
I don't know the number. I just know it was Flair
Sure.
HBK, and we bet the main event, which was Hunter, Cena, Orton.
Okay.
I went straight Orton. Shout out to Randy.
$100, or was it $1,000? What was it?
I don't know.
$100.
It was probably
you
closer
knew
to
not to
100.
pick Hunter though, right? If it was a Mania, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so we.
So you were a wrestling fan.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
there, but that's sort of when it organically came up. Like this lady who worked there was talking to us, and she said, "Oh, you should meet with Stephanie McMahon." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." And I don't know why I said okay. I just said okay. And I was in New York, and we had a buddy out there with us, and he's like a wrestling encyclopedia.
Yeah.
And I said, "Look, he knows even more than me. He's a writer. Meet us both." And they said, "Okay." And we went and we met and we sat with Stephanie. And here's some advice for like young people applying for jobs. Never say, "Hey, here's what's wrong with your company," or "Here, let me fix it," or "Here's what you don't know." What you need to do is sort of go in with the approach of sort of fixing the foundation and identifying assets that they may feel are dead. And so that's all I did. I said, "Hey, man, I think I can get a lot out of, wrestlers
So-and-so,
X, Y,
yeah.
and Z.
Sure.
And I loved this story. What if you pushed that even further, even if I didn't love it, right? I'd be like, this was great, but what if you pushed it further?" And then I would just take it in a total different direction. And as long as you are showing respect, you get a long way in that business. But all I heard every week was every writer before me was like, "Here's what you're doing wrong, Vince." And he's like, "I have $1 billion. What did I do fucking wrong?"
Yeah, no, that
he's
makes
like, "I
sense,
can
right?
literally do whatever I want,
Yeah.
and you're saying I'm fucking
The
up."
man has a fucking T-Rex skull in his office. Like, I
The
don't
man
think he likes the
actually
word no.
killed the T-Rex. Like, that's how long Vince has been on
bare
Earth.
hands.
Carnies, man.
And so you worked with them for what? You said 9 months. And
Yeah, the
then-
better part of a year, and I was writing storylines, and I got to be a part of the team that made Jeff Hardy champion for the first time.
that's
which was
awesome.
A ton of fun. I got to write all that crazy shit he
So
said.
I've been friends with some comic book writers who've written 6 issues of Batman or an issue
Hell
of
yeah.
Superman, and they go like, "Yo, it's the craziest feeling in the world being able to write for these things that I love," and it almost feels like fan fiction more than it feels like a job. Did it kind of feel like that for you a little
Not
bit?
for long. Vince kills that
Yeah, I've
real
heard that.
quick.
Yeah.
He does not. He lets you know real quick, this is my sandbox. And even if you're better than anyone else who came in here, shit, I'll get rid of you and bring someone shittier in, and the rating will be the same.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's right.
100%.
Did you lose your taste for it? Did you still know how the sausage was made, essentially?
I mean,
That's a good question. Yeah.
When the first time I left, I didn't watch wrestling for 6 months.
Yeah.
Because when you see how the magician disappears,
Yeah.
you go, "Oh, that fucking sucks." So I've never been a fan of seeing behind the curtain. I hate behind the scenes footage. I think that shit should, I know
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
everyone's favorite thing, but
course.
it's
Yeah,
my
yeah.
least favorite thing on
Yeah,
earth.
yeah.
I like the surprise. I want to be tricked. I never ask the magician, "How'd you do that?" I just say, "Do it again," because it was cool. So for 6 months I didn't. And then my buddy said, "Hey, there's this guy I wrestle with in Japan named Loki."
Loki.
Yeah, of course.
He said, "Check him out. Maybe you could work with him." I was like, "Man, I'm not trying to work there again." I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
"I'm done. I had a baby." And he's like, "Look, man, like you can kind of set your schedule there. They love you, this and that." I was like, "Let me watch him wrestle." And I watched this match that he had in Japan, and I was just like, "What the fuck?" This is way
those
pre-Hitman
stiff-ass-
gimmick.
yeah,
This was just when they were called the Fighting Artists, right? And I'm watching him and AJ Styles, and I'm sitting there going like, "This is absolutely insane." So I called my buddy. I said, "Yeah, man, let me call the company and see if I can come back." And I told him specifically who I wanted to work with, and Vince legit was like, "The fuck you want to work with him for?"
yeah.
And I said, "Look, man, I see something. He has a great voice." He goes, "Yeah, his voice should belong to a big guy, and a fucking little guy's voice should come out of his face." Like if you're small, like he just has beef with you as a wrestler because he knows he can't depend on your body 340 days a year to hold a championship. It's why it happens so rarely.
Yeah.
It's the whole
That's why
Daniel
the
Bryan thing.
The Daniel Bryan, exactly. Like,
And he was right.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
Daniel got hurt. Like he was Vince's
Vince is
philosophy
right about
is
the injury
right.
prone thing. He's totally totally right. Like,
But
you know
also,
what I
if you're
mean?
putting him in with a bunch of meatheads that are, like,
and they're
like
maulers. Even when they're protecting you, you're gonna
and not to
get
get
hurt.
super wrestling centric on this episode, we'll go all over the fucking place like we do. But I think the thing that's kind of scary right now is a lot of the female wrestlers who are incredible and the best female wrestlers of all time. Sasha Banks, Alexa Bliss.
Sasha Banks is almost
They
always
weigh like
breaking their
85
neck.
pounds and they're almost always breaking their necks. Like I can't imagine their bodies can take the bumps.
Well, we can't throw greatest women
Sure,
wrestlers and
of
put
course.
Alexa
But this-
Bliss in there because she's young
new
and she's new.
new.
But she's fantastic.
She's great on the mic.
Look, she is fantastic. I hope she wins Money in the Bank because she's better on the mic than Ronda or Nia.
Or like
and
a
I
Sasha
love
or
Nia.
a Becky who are
I'm with it, but
Naomi who are athletes, right? Yeah.
I know Vince was always very worried about the women's matches, but I'll be completely honest with you. When Total Divas came out, which was actually a show that me and a dude I joined with, Mac's friend, created when they were talking about doing a WWE network like way back when.
You guys pitched the Divas?
And Vince was like, "That's wow."
I don't want to fucking watch that.
And they knew about the idea and we're like, fucking go run. But once the women's matches started getting ratings, he was much less concerned about injuries. And their matches went from 4.5 to 5 minutes. That's with entrances.
Maybe. Yeah,
okay.
right?
Yeah. No. That's exactly how. That's exactly how long they were.
2.5
30 seconds in the ring.
I was in charge of the division basically, and Billy Kidman was the live timekeeper, and he would tell you, he's like, "Bro, you got 40 seconds." I'd be like,
Jesus Christ.
y'all got to walk to the ring quicker. But yeah, so it went from that to where all of a sudden these 5-minute matches, and this is all because of Brie and Nikki coming up from FCW. And Michael Freebird Hayes doing the twins magic thing and all that that everyone shit on, by the way. And it totally got over. And the foundation that they set, all of a sudden, these 5-minute matches, their ratings were doubling. Okay, and Vince is getting live ratings while he's watching the show. They're getting
he's getting real time
ratings. It's why they'll hold and not go to commercial and communicate to the ref, "Hey, let him work an extra minute because Monday Night Football went to commercial. Somebody got hurt, so we're good." Like
quarter-hour boosts and all that crazy. It's
they're literally working in real time to try and pull
to weave this
3
all
or
together.
4 extra little numbers, right? So it goes from that to all of a sudden they get a 10-minute match. And that's when I left the company the second time. And now I'm sort of watching and I'm sitting back, and all of a sudden that 10-minute match gets a commercial break. And I'm like, hold up, man. They got 10 minutes of TV time plus another 3.5 minutes on just house time. I go, man. And I called our buddy who worked there. I go, what's going on? He's like, yo, they're pulling numbers.
They're pulling
bro.
numbers.
Yeah.
That to 2 commercial breaks.
Yeah.
To pay-per-views where their matches aren't 8 minutes, but 20 minutes. To doing an NXT Iron Man match or Iron Woman match. I don't remember how they branded it with Banks and Bayley.
Yeah.
To all of a sudden headlining WrestleMania to the point where their segments on Monday Night Raw still to this day draw higher than any of the men's ratings
Especially now with Rousey,
on
too.
the fucking show.
It's great.
Yeah.
And they've been consistent with that number for years now. That's how sick women's wrestling is.
Yeah, the women's revolution.
That's not wrestling eccentric.
No, of course
that's
not.
just letting people know on the business.
Speaking of women wrestling, so Mac, your special lady friend, you got her into wrestling pretty hardcore in a world where I don't think she'd ever watched wrestling before.
No,
right?
but that took her to a live event, took her to SummerSlam last year.
Oh, your lady friend?
Yeah, my special lady friend. Yeah.
Joey Ryan's bar wrestling, and
she hasn't seen wrestling until she's been to a Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
I don't really hear any of that.
But she fucking took to it quickly.
Yep.
How was your wife with? Does she like wrestling? Do your kids like wrestling?
My daughter's 8, so
Okay.
she's just starting to watch it. I introduced my wife to this one called Progression.
Yeah, I'm sure I know Progression.
Yeah, it's an all women's one.
Okay, yeah.
And my wife found this Aussie girl named Tony Storm.
Yeah, who
And
was in the
she was in the Mae Young Classic.
The girl with the little hat.
Yeah,
the little top hat.
And she does the stride.
Yeah,
she's
great.
so
She's
cool,
great,
man.
Tony
She does
Storm.
the triple pile driver. She's so friggin' cool. And she's like tomboy as fuck. And my wife and my podcast partner, who was like, he doesn't know shit about wrestling. Like I educate him on that. We do like a segment on Monday Night Raw where I just break down one segment, what I loved or what I hated about it. Right. Last week's was Elias, right? Because I'm in love with Elias.
I love man.
And I hated him on
Elias.
NXT. And Hunter saw something that he's always been great at that no one else in the company saw. And I'm like, they pulled him up. And now I'm like,
I had the same
what took you so
feeling.
long to pull him
I know
up?
he
Mac,
is
he was
over
my
like
pick.
Rover, man.
He was my pick to win the Rumble. I wanted him to win the Rumble this year.
Bro, I think he's going to get like a honky tonk type
He's
run with
great.
the
He's
IC
great.
belt.
I thought he should have done the the national anthem at WrestleMania this year. I thought that shit would have been
They
hilarious.
couldn't because he's not allowed to get through it, and that would be disrespectful
I
to
know,
the anthem
I know.
in Vince's
Good
eyes.
call, yeah,
but you're
yeah.
dead on.
But
You're
you know
dead
what I mean?
on.
No, you
I'm
do
sure
a
it
bit.
got pitched.
No, you do a bit, and then boom, like he gets not.
You have to have somebody like Tony Bennett knocks him out and then sings a real one. Baby.
Exactly, it's a great spot for that. Like here's Christina Aguilera
Lillian
now.
Garcia with a chair.
exactly.
It would be. Come on, guys. It would be Lillian. Garcia.
Yeah, it'd be good. It'd be good. Yeah.
That's great, man. So when did you guys first meet?
When did we
man.
first meet? Was it
Didn't ask
was
that
it
question. I
was
don't
it
know.
Vegas? I think it was
don't remember.
It was a Vegas trip in like I think it was like 03
No,
or
I met
04.
you before Gary's. I met you before Gary's thing. I met you in California.
We don't. Yeah,
I just don't remember.
We're both old now.
And we drank a lot of wine.
Yeah.
And it was always at dinner, and we always hung after. So I don't remember.
Yeah.
But a long
It's
time.
been
ago.
an amount of years, though, right?
Yeah.
We'll say over 10.
Did you
Yeah,
guys
it's been
instantly?
like that 10, 15, like 15 years. You've actually known my brother Kieran longer.
I've known your Kieran since he was a little boy, and I got
yeah.
him out of trailer school so he could play PlayStation
Yep,
in
yep,
Madrid.
yeah.
What's that? Were you guys working on a movie together?
We did She's All That back in the
shit.
day.
Yeah, Kieran's the younger
Kieran
brother.
and She's All
yeah,
That?
Yeah, he was supposed to be like deaf in it.
And by the way, he's like his like punk ass demeanor in that is the same as on his new show.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
and
hysterical.
in real life. If you
But,
want to be
yeah,
honest.
in real life,
His school teacher was making him go in to do like a school session in the trailer, and he had already been in there like 3 times that day, and kept getting pulled out and pulled in, and he just shoulders were down, like he was just miserable. And I opened my trailer door and I yelled at him. I was like, "Hey, we're supposed to rehearse our scene." We didn't have any fucking scenes together. I'm like, "We're supposed to rehearse our shit, man. Get in here." And he's like, "Oh, I'll go." And he like tripped out because he's like, I know
what
we
the
had a
fuck?
scene.
Yeah.
He came in, I closed the door. I was like, "Here's a PlayStation, man. Go play." And then we were cool from then on. But that was like probably 10 years before I ever met you.
yeah, exactly.
Or however many it was.
That's my one. So my one, your movie career centric. It's not even a question. Yeah, it's a question.
Just comments. Yeah, I'm just gonna comment on your
Let me
career.
just comment, and you cannot respond.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
please
yeah.
respond.
Here's
You
what
will
you're doing wrong with
You will absorb the comment, and then I will move on.
I'm gonna pitch you like a
So as
like
a
like a wrestling kind of thing.
15-year-old stoner Matt, when She's All That came out or whenever it was, as a everyday hacky sacker. To see that represented on screen, I was like, "Here we go! The sport's getting some recognition."
the sport.
You just called it a sport.
Yeah,
That's
man.
awesome,
Oh, shit.
man.
Fuck yeah! They were trying to get to the Olympics. Like a bunch of fucking stoners were like,
Yeah,
but
good luck
wrote
with
one
that.
letter
They-
to the Olympics.
Yeah, they tried for a week.
They didn't put a stamp on it.
He's like, "Oh, dude, I got to get to the post office." That letter's still sitting on his.
Is that
desk.
really you hacky sacking you that or no?
Only the first 3.
It
It
is?
was this
Yeah,
professional
yeah, yeah.
guy named Ryan something, and he was like 6'5". And I saw him outside, and he was dressed like me, so I know he's the double. And I go, "So let me see your shit." And he goes, "Okay." And I was like, "Are you really good?" And he goes, "I'm like, yeah, like."
Are
one
you
of the best."
Olympics good?
No, he goes. He looks at me, and goes, "I'm like one of the best in the world." And I was like,
Okay. Okay.
"Oh,
Let's
you
see
have
it.
to show me
Blow
shit."
me away. Yeah,
and,
all right.
and then he just went like he could do, and he did some stuff where they couldn't shoot it because Rob's like, nobody's gonna think Freddie could do
But
that.
that's the best part of that is the dude who's like, "I'm the world's best hacky sack player at its best." And it's mildly kind of impressive in a lame
thought it was
way.
cool.
It's cool, but that's such a niche skill set to have.
Yeah. I you know.
Skill better describes it than
Yeah,
sport.
the
There you
sport.
go.
But I feel the same way about golf. If it makes you feel any better.
Yeah.
Fair
That's
enough.
skill. Not
Yeah,
sport.
it's a hobby.
Well,
poker skill.
Yeah,
not
yeah,
sport.
not a sport.
I guess sport. What do you think the
Diving,
definition of
gravity, not sport.
Never felt diving.
Touche. I like that.
Curling? Are we on a sport with it?
It depends how good a housekeeper you are.
Wow, nice.
Oh, that's great. Just a bunch of Canadian housekeepers getting gold.
Yeah. No, I think curling. Yes, there's a physicality to it. You got
Physicality of what you just did there.
just right here.
There's a physicality to jerking off. I mean, fucking, and
Yo,
I'd be a gold medalist.
If they let 16-year-olds from America compete in jerking off in the Olympics, we would
we would medal
have
every the podium.
undefeated.
It would just be Americans on the podium, but it would be a very slippery, gross
Yeah,
fucking podium.
and they'd all be exhausted.
Yes, exactly.
Everyone's like napping. Yeah. I think people were too busy to even find a stamp for that letter, for the Olympics.
For that sport, the jerking
Poor
off
hack-
one.
poor
Yeah.
hackies.
They had no free hands. Poor hacky sack. It died too soon, right?
I know, man. It still hangs out in Stanford.
I had two hacky sacks on that table right there.
It hangs out with Pogs.
Yeah, in Berkeley. It hangs out
Yeah.
in Berkeley.
Yeah,
so-
Burlington, Vermont.
An ultimate frisbee leagues.
It's probably big in Portland still.
Yeah,
Imagine, and I would like to think it's like just making its way
Outside like a chess club.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Or just like in the way that like things take like 15 years to get to like Poland. I want to think like
It's just
the first hacky sack just arrived on a boat. You know what I mean? And they're looking at it like the
American culture.
the obelisk in 2001, right? They're just like trying to get inside the hack.
I remember you were trying to get me to move to Portland when I said I was moving to Paris. You're like, Paris? You know, what about Portland?
I remember that. I was like, why you want to go so fucking far,
I
man?
know,
I was
yeah.
like, why, but it's just the first P that came into my mind. Like, I'm a fucking, I don't know, Portland.
And so he's like sending me pictures of like Clyde Drexler and shit like that. Like, it's
Look,
just
man,
like,
they got a donut shop.
Michael Thompson, #1 pick, 1978. Like, you need to know this stuff. It's
yeah, showing me pictures of the riverfront.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like,
you-
hey,
the
what do
Rose
you know?
Garden?
Yes, the
Have
Rose
you
Garden.
spent any time in Portland?
I've never been there.
Me neither, man. Have you?
Yeah.
Is it cool?
I've played there. Like, yeah, it's cool. It definitely is kind of like, it's like Williamsburg, but
The
in
city.
Oregon.
That's what, I went to their arena there with a WWE event.
Okay.
Yeah, I did go there once.
I'm sure you
They
guys-
don't get out there often, though.
I'm sure you traveled to a lot of cities with WWE you never thought you would make it to.
Wilkesboro?
I don't
Wow,
even know.
jeez.
Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Wait,
Wow.
the Wilkesboro?
Yeah, and that Best
John
West,
Wilkesboro?
that Best Western there with the triple twin bed in my room, that was nice.
The triple twin
So
bed.
I'm
three,
like,
three
yo.
twins pushed together. Yeah.
I'm like, that's so strange. Like, why did they put the extra one there? But yeah, right on.
You got the Goldilocks suite or whatever.
Yeah.
You have your own podcast now.
Yeah,
you
man.
do, right?
It's
How
called-
did that come about? Yeah.
It's called Prinze and the Wolf. It actually came about because of Twitter. I follow a lot of comedians. My dad, I said, was a comedian.
Sure.
When I was a young man, I was 12 years old, hanging out at the Improv on Melrose because my dad opened that fucking club with Bud Friedman. He gave him the startup money for it. So Bud would
you were just legacied in forever. You
Yeah,
were-
man,
you were-
like, yeah,
grandfathered
Freddie's
in.
kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was always there. I had these spiral notebooks and I would write down like comics, like my favorite jokes that they did. I even like have given some out to the comics that I've met like 20, 30, 40 years later almost now. Like Chris Titus. I was like, hey man,
Oh, wow.
I did his podcast. I was like, this is going to be weird. But right before you did your pilot for Fox, I wrote down a bunch of your jokes at the Improv that killed me. And I just wanted you to have them. And he was like, dude, they put that joke in the fucking show. Like he was tripping out.
That's so fucking cool.
So I've always
Yeah.
had like a soft spot. So the majority of the people I follow on Twitter are
Comedians,
comics.
yeah.
Just I like the way they look at things. My dad was one, and it helps me kind of over the years kind of relate to him in a better way. And Josh Wolf was one of them. I used to watch Chelsea Handler because she would just shit on her panel for like 40 minutes. And these comics are so money, like Brad and Josh and Joe Coy and all, their whole squad. Like they could just take it. It was like watching Ali just punch somebody who wanted to be there to be hit. Right? So Josh always said funny shit, and he's a big time stoner, and he would do these things called the high walk. And he would get super high, and he lived in the shitty neighborhood. He's moved. And he would get really high, and he would walk, and he would tweet all the scary shit that scared him. He's like, I think my neighbors
like a
have
safari.
guns. Yeah, like full on, right? So he's like, there's a couch outside. Should I take it? Should I sit?
Why is there a baby in the street right now?
Like all that kind of
This is the
shit.
fifth pit bull I've walked by. Like, you know, yeah.
So I wrote back to him one time on one of his high walks, and he messaged me, and he was like, hey, man, I have a podcast. Do you want to come do it?
Be a guest,
and
yeah.
I had done a bunch on like sports podcasts and other podcasts, and people wanted to hear silly stories about my dad in the 70s and Richard Pryor and all that shit. And being a comic, he wanted to. And every one of these ones that I had done, everybody always said, hey, man, we should do a podcast together. But it just never felt right, and it was never something that I wanted to do. And Josh and I sat down for his podcast called The Fairly Normal Podcast, and we talked for like an hour 20, and like 10 minutes in, I knew he and I were going to do a podcast
Like
together.
jive, yeah.
Yeah, I just knew it.
And
Like,
it's something you never had any interest in doing.
Zero. I like to surf on the west side. He lives in the valley. Okay, like so to get me, Mac knows. Like to get me east of the 405, you better be a friend, blood, or cash better be
Or
involved.
fucking paying, yeah. And if any combination of the three, even the better, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, so thanks for coming all the way over here today.
For free,
Yeah,
no
yeah,
problem.
yeah. And here's
I will drink you out of house and home with this
Oh,
water.
yeah, man.
You won't have a bottle
Free,
left.
free waters and bunny
here's
ears
your
all
20
around.
bucks. Here's your
Yeah.
20 bucks. There you go.
So
Here's your gas money.
So at the end of the podcast, I'm walking out, and my brain tells me, it says, he's going to text you. We should do a podcast together, and you're going to text him back, yes. And before I got to my car, my phone goes, ding. He goes, hey, man, we should do a podcast together. And I wrote back, yes.
That's awesome.
And that
You were
was
just
it.
Off to the races.
And literally a week later, we recorded like our first 3, and then we recorded another 3, and then we started just dropping them soon after that. So we had a couple in the bank.
Do you guys?
He's a comic.
Do you
He
guys
travels.
Just go
do you
like
guys
weekly,
bank?
you know, like
every
that.
Tuesday? Yeah.
Do you bank episodes too?
Every once in a while. We haven't done it in a long time.
That's what we do.
But
like
when we started, we did.
We started with and Warren is our fan base. Warren is everyone listening right now. Warren knows this because we've talked about it. We banked like 10 to begin with. And it was great, but then it got to a point where like the episodes, the stuff we were talking about happened so long ago, and it felt
and
a
you
little.
forget too. Like you forget what was even in the.
And
you're
we
like,
started,
oh,
we started
I've said
repeating ourselves, and it just felt a little disconnected. So we've been a lot better about like
we always
timing these
like to be a little ahead of ourselves, but not too much. Just
We have-
because I travel a lot, so I can't necessarily always be here.
But
kind
we
of
have the
thing.
benefit of you don't have a set schedule, right? Like
Yeah,
you travel
yeah.
like a gypsy. You're like, hey, there's a good wind. Let's say.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
You know,
Mhm, yeah,
whereas like Josh has dates, so we know like if he's fucked on a
I
certain
bet that's
date, like, we
easier
can-
than
way
Wind Boy
easier.
over here.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
than with the master navigator.
Well, you're anchored down. I mean, you got kids and a family.
It's a tremendous anchor.
I know. It's a beautiful gold anchor.
You don't even have an anchor on your boat, bro.
I
You
know.
can't even dock.
Yeah,
like,
I
you
know.
just have to sail by and go. I just want to say hello real quick.
Okay, bye.
And to further the analogy, as the sailboat in the scenario, whenever the wind comes by, I'm like, oh fuck, great, put the sails up. We're gonna record as many as we humanly possibly can. He's
I'll
here,
just jump
he's
off and
here.
swim. You can keep going.
I'll circle back.
Yeah. You should see this guy in a kayak. I swear to God.
Oh boy. So what kind of stuff you guys talk about on Prince of the Wolf?
Well, like I said, I've always been obsessed with comedy, so I make him discuss kind of what happened at the shows that he does every weekend, right? So it'll be like in Austin, and he has a very interactive show. He's also a musician. He the song Hallelujah, he's changed to But I'll Still Screw You.
The Leonard Cohen.
And he asks his audience, and a lot of the followers already like prepare their lyrics. He says, "Hey, I'll let you come up on stage and do, but you got to tell me of the person that even though you didn't want to screw him, you still screwed him. You got to tell the story in song." So like I always want to know like who comes on stage. Every once in a while, it's people that follow us, online and that we interact with. We try to do a lot of that. So we talk about that. Like I said, we do a weekly
Raw segment.
Raw thing, and sometimes I talk like NXT stuff. Like there's a character named Velveteen Dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
Big
watched
time.
since he was a little baby, trying to get in.
So Cruiserweight Classic. That he was in a total other.
But
gimmick.
even before then,
Really? Oh,
yes.
because he was developmental, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and I think he was even tough enough also.
jeez.
Yeah, and he was just clean cut and like so sweet. Like I just want to work here and be a tough professional.
Yeah.
And now he just owns his
my God.
shit.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I want to write. It makes me want to go back and write just for him on a guy on NXT. People be like, "What the fuck is NXT?"
When we went down to Mania this year and did Radio Row at 4 a.m.
That, you told me that.
Yeah,
Shell.
yeah.
That's so cool.
That was
though.
a lot
and
of fun.
we got to talk to a bunch of people, but I think the person that I'd seen him. I'm a big like PWG guy, and SoCal indie shit, and Mac hadn't really seen his stuff, but
Yeah, but Aleister Black, man, like he was
formerly
friggin'
Tommy
awesome.
End. Yeah,
He's really good.
And really fascinating to talk to too. Like, I want to have him back on. Like,
Yeah, he's a cool guy and an interesting guy when he doesn't have it written for him, but he
Yeah.
struggles with the mic, man. Like it's
English ain't his first language.
I know, man, and it's so hard when the person writing for you doesn't speak your language.
Yes,
and
and they've suffered with that with all the foreign wrestlers.
anybody
yeah.
who's from a different country. Like when I first got there, Vince literally was like, "Oh, Freddie, you'll write for Ray. You're Mexican, right?" I'm like,
It's like Jesus Christ.
I'm like, nah, bro. I'm like, my dad was half Puerto Rican. I was like, I'm fucking Irish, like you. My mom's last name's Cochran.
Yeah,
Also raised from San Diego.
But I literally was like, whatever, man. I was like, I speak Spanish. Fuck it. So,
yeah.
so I wrote for him when Alberto Del Rio came in, and
See the way you just said
see,
Del Rio.
You,
Like,
you
well,
did
I
it
was-
more
I
than an
respect-
Irishman would.
I respect El Patron.
see right there.
That's
Vince
his
was
name
right.
now.
Vince was
No,
right
he
right
was.
now.
But
Yeah.
by the way, people talk shit on Vince, but he's
No,
right.
he's right most of the
9
time.
out of 10
Yes.
times. Not creatively, but when he thinks about the
His instincts.
sociology of
Maybe not Roman, but
Audience.
that's a different conversation for a different time.
I might actually argue that too.
Okay, cool.
Just- we can
We'll
get
come back for
to
the
that.
wrestling show. Yeah,
But when I got over with Vince was we were in Tucson, Arizona, and Alberto was going to wrestle Ray, and the crowd, or no, Alberto was going to wrestle a white guy. Ray was in the main event, and the crowd's supposed to boo Alberto, and Vince was like, you gotta make him boo. I was like, are you joking, bro? This is Mexico.
Yeah.
Like, I've been to Tucson, bro. The crowd's literally doing that, like the gangster whistle, right? Like during Julio Cesar Chavez fights. I'm like, what are you talking about? So I grab Alberto. I'm like, look, man, Vince is gonna be on our ass if we don't pull this off because we
gotta figure this out. Yeah.
So we do this bit where we define the difference between the puro Latino, the pure Latino.
Oh, goodness. Wow.
And what my dad portrayed on TV, which was the American Chicano.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And so he goes out there and he cuts this promo and they're cheering for him. And he goes, oh, thank you. He goes, but you should. The American Chicano should cheer for the puro Latino.
Ooh,
he goes, the puro Latinos design the buildings. The Chicanos just build them.
Ooh.
The puro Latinos are the doctors that work at the hospitals. You clean up the waste.
Ooh,
and like he just starts going in and I'm sitting next to Vince like this. Like I'm going to get either beat up by someone, right? Because Vince will go in on you if he thinks he doesn't care who you are. And so I'm sitting there and the crowd just goes like nasty on him.
Yeah.
And just, and Vince just, this is as good as a compliment as you get from Vince. It's probably the second best compliment I ever got from him. He just elbows me in the ribs, fucking hard.
Yeah.
And goes,
That's it.
and I was like,
Get the grunt. Yeah.
And Billy Kidman was on the tie, and he looked at me. He was like, "Fuck yeah."
Wow, jeez, I can't believe you just did that.
He doesn't elbow me in the ribs anymore.
I
My
haven't
favorite thing
grudged
about
that in forever.
My favorite thing about all your WWE stories is then like, oh, and also just Billy Kidman was there.
Yo, he was our timekeeper. He let us know on the live show, like,
fucking
you got
funny.
a minute
Billy Kidman,
left. You got to
like
get off that hold.
Arguably like the best cruiserweight of the 90s was just like hanging out, keeping time. You know what I mean?
like,
Yeah.
Yo, the timekeeper legit is the heartbeat of every match that everyone has loved or hated on WWE.
Yeah.
They're the one communicating
the whole
everything to the referee and letting the referee know exactly where they're at in the match, at exactly what time they need to transition to a different kind of hold because there's going to be a break. So he's got to throw them out of the ring. Like, they are the heartbeat. And if they suck, they are gone. And he did not suck. He knew his shit.
He's still there.
Yeah.
Oh, he's still doing. Yeah.
Definitely.
No, Billy's the man, dude.
Yeah. So all your stories just have Billy Kidman in them.
Yeah, when I was
Any more Billy Kidman stories? Yeah.
Billy Kidman was
Did
like,
you write down
he
your
was
favorite
4.
Billy
He was
Kidman
pulling me into
jokes
the
at
wagon,
the
yeah.
comedy factory?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you ever want to be a comedian? Because if you grew up in those clubs and you were watching comedians all the time and you had adoration for them and you writing down jokes, you never ever.
I never wanted to follow in my dad's footsteps. Josh and I are going to do our podcast at a comedy club, which took him over a year to convince me to do. And the only reason we're doing this because it's a club I know my dad never played because it wasn't open. Sure.
Yeah.
And it's in his hometown of Boston. So it'll be more about
that's good.
Yeah. And people love.
But I've
like,
never
live
wanted to have
shows.
my feet on
The same stage.
the same planks that, like, even when I did like SNL, I knew my dad had been in that like space, and it gave me a security where I didn't get as nervous as I thought I would. But I also felt like, man, he should have been doing this, not me. You know what I mean? So it was just, that's always been a weird thing for me.
Yeah, no, that's fascinating, man. Yeah. Do you think?
Because you're just not funny.
Not
either.
at all.
Yeah. I don't think you could pull it off.
I don't know. I don't know if come to terms is the right word.
I'm glad. That's some good life choices right there, dude.
I did my best.
Yeah.
It just didn't work out.
I don't know if come to terms is the right word, but in the last few years, like, you've certainly gotten busy with your podcast and you're doing all the gaming stuff and all the YouTube stuff and the wrestling stuff. Do you think you've kind of found your own voice at this stage? Do you ever get that?
I didn't really. Look, my mom taught me so. I was raised by a bunch of weirdos, okay? So, like, my mom, she always said, look, people are going to hate you no matter what. So like what you like and know they hate you.
Yeah.
And then she just, people say that's negative, but my family, that was just called the real world,
Yeah,
right?
no, she's
So-
giving you straight talk. Yeah.
Mac's known me for however many years. We can't figure it out.
Discriminate amount of wine drinking worth?
But as far as my likes and dislikes, he could 100% tell you all of them, and they would still exist. He wouldn't be wrong. So anytime I got cocky, I would get beat up because my godfather was Bob fucking Wall. So Gene LaBelle choked me out when I was 8 in the 3rd grade.
You were probably asking for it.
I didn't know to tap. And I was 8. My mom literally rolled up a National Geographic, which was a magazine back in the 80s, and was whacking him in the head like he doesn't know to tap. Gene lets me go and he goes, let me show you how to do this so you can do it to your friends. So anytime I got like live, they'd be like, oh, you want to spot? And they kept me humble. So I didn't have to deal with too much of that. If you're referring to like shit with my dad, I didn't work that out until my daughter was born.
Okay.
And then for whatever reason, I didn't work on it. It just stopped.
It just stopped.
Like
the feeling is you were walking in his footsteps, sort of, or
just all the bad feelings,
stuff,
all the good feelings. All of a sudden, just everything was okay. I fucking get it.
That's cool.
Being a dad is scary, and you fucked up. Like as funny as he was not a good father. Obviously, he certainly wasn't a good husband. I can discuss this because Pam Grier wrote about it in her biography. But he had an affair with her. You know what I mean? So I hated him when I was young, in my 20s, in my 30s. But once I suddenly had a kid, like this sounds terrible, but you're like, man, it was fucking Pam Grier.
If it's gonna be anyone,
like it was the 70s. He was high on cocaine. She was the most beautiful woman in America. Like, okay.
I mean, you've always seemed like you always had a good amount of peace, at least with it. I mean, like it never showed. Like it's like, you know, it wasn't like you were wearing like that on your sleeve or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, it came out sometimes. Like when he got a star on the Walk of Fame, I was stupid and talked to my mom and George Lopez before it happened. George was the only reason he got a star on there, which you can just buy. But he literally like, called him out on social media. And they have to approve it, and he's like, racist fucker. And they were like, oh no, we would love to. And George paid for it. Like George did everything, but I spoke with both of them before, and it didn't mean much to me because I kind of know how easy it is sort of to get one. But I saw what it meant to my mother, and I know that my dad was the reason George started comedy, and I saw how much it meant to him, and I broke down. I was legit crying. But that was the last time I cried about my dad. Like I've taken Charlotte to his grave, and she literally like just started talking to him. Just
That's great,
talking to the wall, right? I took my son, and he's only 5, but that was when I took Charlotte. He's not as emotionally.
Did he bring his trucks?
Yeah, no, I didn't even let him. I don't let him bring toys in the car, but we walk up there, and it's this beautiful place called Forest Lawn Mortuary behind Warner Brothers, and so it's totally quiet. And we're going up, and there's this military funeral going on, and I warn Rocky. I say, hey man, they might fire some guns, so don't get startled if you hear it. I said, there's not real bullets. He was like, pretend bullets, I go, yeah, they're pretend bullets. And so we walk up and we go over, and he goes, so where's Grandpa? And I go, he's right there. That's his name. It says Freddie Prinze. And he goes, okay. And I go, you can talk to him. You can say whatever you want. He goes, okay. He goes, Grandpa, I'm going to go play with those guys' guns. And he just starts walking out. I'm like, yo, man.
That sounds like Rocky.
You just made your grandpa laugh for sure. So
that's dope.
So like when my kids were born, like the pain that would have gone with that when I brought like Sarah the first time, like that. I had a lot of hurt and a lot of pain, which is why I brought her.
Yeah, I'm sure it was pretty mixed.
I wanted her to see why I was sort of the way I was, and you can catch a lot in that moment.
Yeah.
But once my kids were born, like it was just like whatever, man. Like
it's life, right? Like
it's life.
You see how
one day I won't be here.
The trade,
so I got to do everything I can to make sure they're cool and good and no shit from Shinola from the jerk. Don't trust Whitey.
Teach them not to trust Whitey. That's definitely if you're gonna pull any blurb from this, Freddie Prinze Jr. wants his children to not trust Whitey.
Yo, hardcore Star Wars fans would believe that. the hardcore, like the psychopaths that try to get people off social media. I said they were shitting on someone named Pablo Hidalgo. Who's
of course.
A very good,
who's like
decent
the architect
man.
of the Star Wars films now, kind of.
Well, that's what they say, but he's not. They use him for research and accuracy, and he has no agenda that he can influence. And someone called him a pig with an agenda. And I wrote, man, this is just some average white dude who's pissed off they gave the Millennium Falcon to a girl. And I was like, just relax. And all these like little YouTube channel hardcore guys were like, you are racist against white people, just like Star Wars is racist against white people. And if you're one of those people, I have news for you. Me making fun of you for not being able to relate to the protagonist in a film isn't racism. You can't handle racism. You can't handle girls in movies from galaxies far, far away. You will never. Ask a minority what racism feels like and then relate what you're going through. All that happened is your feelings got hurt. Deal with it.
If these movies raped your childhood. I hope.
And by the way, I will continue to laugh and ridicule you forever.
Yeah, people are sensitive, man.
I need to go to the restroom terribly.
Pause.
Yeah.
Pee-pee time.
And Mac is back from the
Oh my
bathroom.
God, that was so like relieving. Yeah,
Was it like a Tom Hanks, A League of Their Own?
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's my go-to for a long piss.
See, I always go with the Adam Sandler on his first album. It was the longest piss. Like,
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it was like
That was an old Chevy Chase joke that he was kind of paying tribute to.
Yeah,
Chevy
so there
Chase
you
used
go.
to do the thing in his house where he would had a pitcher of water.
Oh,
or an
and
empty
just-
pitcher like under his bathroom sink. He'd fill it up, and if he knew people could hear him from the other room,
and just keep going.
but
and
he
going.
could do it because it's a giant pitcher. He could go for like 3-4 minutes, man.
and it
People be
stops.
freaking out.
And it stops.
Making
Yeah,
it starts
and it goes
again,
again.
butter and stuff.
Yeah. Well, we had a lot of wine last night, and then also like I chugged a bunch of Gatorades last night, and then this
did.
morning. And
we
so,
should
like,
say
yeah.
you've been
I
drinking
couldn't-
like water and Gatorade.
I know.
It's a,
I know.
It's a new Mac.
I'm hydrating.
Yeah.
I'm
a hydrated
Stay
Mac.
hydrated, guys. Just say, hey,
Well,
Warren.
the alcohol is balancing out the hydration, so
Yeah.
I think you're just back to base here.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just getting baseline, really.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
yeah,
Even Steven
yeah.
over here.
Yeah, but I couldn't even get through a freaking hour-long podcast without having to go.
That's all right.
We're getting old, man. We're
I have
getting
a tiny
old.
little
I know,
bladder,
yeah.
too.
I mean, we talked about all the scandalous stuff actually since.
Yeah, you guys miss sweet shit.
Yeah,
Oh,
there was
yeah,
some
yeah,
really
yeah,
sweet,
yeah.
some
Off air
WWE, like
Oh,
some,
Warren, it's that thing where we tell a story that you're never going to know.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
did that again.
Yeah.
There's another thing we all share in common. I know you specifically, you're a huge game guy, right? We're always playing gin rummy.
Yes.
You got Mac Boggle. I believe you're the one who introduced running charades to this friend group
Yeah.
at large, which now has spread into multiple friend groups.
yeah.
Freddie, you're a gamer too,
You have,
right?
you have
man?
like a channel and
You're
everything.
starting
You
a
do-
gaming
I
empire.
just did your thing.
You did, man. We actually had fun, and
It was a lot of fun.
it came down to you and I, which was nice, even though we're on the
and
same team.
you killed me.
You deserved it. And I don't care that we lost. It felt
it was
right.
fun.
It felt good. Yeah, I used to be on Twitch, and we started doing board games more than video games, because that's kind of, I love video. I play them every day.
Do you play video? We'll talk everything, but
Oh yeah, I played Sea of Thieves before I came over
that's
here,
awesome.
and I swear to God,
Do you
my,
like it?
My quest had 5 gold chests on one island. I was like, "Yo, this update rules." I love it.
I haven't tried it yet.
Look, a lot of people's complaint was, "Well, where's the content?" But they said in the development, "You're the content. You're a
Open
pirate.
world sandbox
You're a
pirate.
pirate. You wake up in a bar. There are 3 people you can get missions from. You have a boat. You have no tutorial. Have fun."
and
Play the game.
and
Yeah.
go.
And any boat you see could be friend or foe. And it's up to you to figure out if you want to work with them, because they could fuck you over, sink your ship, kill you, take your treasure.
dope. That's
And
dope.
the 2 hours of time you put in, wasted like that. So you're playing paranoid intense a lot. So I play video games every day, but I grew up on board games. My kids and I play tons of board games. My wife and I play like this. We played games.
Yep.
Years ago, we played a game called Mafia.
yeah.
We still shout out to Seth and Claire. And,
Yeah.
I mean,
Claire-
Mafia's a big part of my
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
Claire is one of the co-founders of our channel, Geghead, which is
that's
on
right.
YouTube,
Yeah.
youtube.com/Geghead. And she's already hosted 3 Mafia nights for us, which were
Have you
freaking
ever played Werewolf?
Awesome. Werewolf is like a more
we just
accessible
we just
version.
changed
Yeah.
the words, literally.
Yeah, it's a more but Mafia can go deep, because all of a sudden you can add new characters like a sharpshooter,
Yep,
or like all this
little
psycho
girl or
shit.
whatever.
Yeah, man. So it can go as deep
we
as
had
your
a
imagination.
Suicide bomber we had.
We haven't done.
Oh
that.
yeah, if you kill a suicide bomber, they kill the next person on both sides of them die.
Oh my god!
In the night, it's like collateral fucking damage.
Yeah.
man.
I'm like the worst
He's-
/ best player.
Yes.
Yes.
We had
You
one
have-
of those.
You have no idea where I'm coming from. Like anytime.
Well,
Looking at-
let's tell him what.
Because you
Okay,
seem
so
like you're not interested in playing.
I know,
but that's his poker move.
It's his
Exactly.
tactic.
Yeah, that's his
exactly.
poker move.
Yeah,
And
I'm
his
a
life move.
I play
Okay.
drunken boxer. Yeah.
drunken
exactly.
boxing.
You're Jackie just swaying.
Oh yeah, no, I pull all kinds of things. I've played with Claire before where like I got her real good.
Yeah.
Like I got her like she was in my
Oh,
voting block.
do you remember that
She had to
night?
get up. Yeah, she actually had to get up for the next round and sit across from me because she didn't want to be anywhere fucking near me.
Because the vibe.
She
That's
was
why I love
just
killing
oh
you.
yeah, no, she just couldn't fucking stand me.
See, I like people who are great at games,
too.
and Mac's not good at games. He's great at games because he tries to outthink the person who made it. Not you. The person who made it. He tries to find a way to beat the system so that you can't even compete. And I've always loved that. And what the game we did was Oregon Trail, and we had
Tabletop, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, tabletop,
not
yeah.
the computer game,
Okay.
the deck game, right? So we were doing these on Twitch, and we were getting like a couple 100,000 like people watching. So, but Twitch wasn't the right place for that world, so we moved it to YouTube, and we had done an Oregon Trail with Claire. And we do one with us, and I don't care spoiling it. I hope people watch it. They won't watch.
I've seen it, yeah.
But, you can die from all kinds of things. Dysentery, typhoid, snake bites, all this stuff. So we were just getting picked off in round 6. There's 10 rounds. I mean, we lost Mary Lynn Raxjub, the comedian.
Yeah, sure.
We lost our third co-founder, John Lee Brody. We lost Josh Wolf to a snake bite. And then it's just Mac and I have a card that reads, it's a river ford, right? And so in the computer game, if you remember, you would always want to take the ferry because if you tried to ford it, you were going to lose everything, right?
Of course.
So it says if you roll a 3 or a 5, the roll passes to the person to the left. Any even number, you ford the river. If you roll a 1, you drown and you're dead. There's only 2 of us left. I roll a 3 or a 5. I don't remember which one. It passes to the left. Now, Matt, and I'm only playing this card to kill him.
Yes.
I have other options. We could have safely gone to round 7 and made all these people wait who were dead. But
nope.
It's funnier to beat the system and make someone who you have love for die.
Yeah.
So it went back to me. Because he rolled like a 5, right?
Yeah.
And then it went back to him because I rolled a 3.
You guys were just friendly, trying to kill each other for a few rolls?
Yeah, exactly.
And then he rolled the dreaded 1.
Yeah,
and he drowned. And then I had no one to help me when we broke a wagon wheel, so I couldn't fix the wagon, and I died.
And then he died like the
very next turn I died.
Yeah, he was gone.
So that's why I love games.
The lesson is always keep Macaulay Culkin alive.
Yes, thank you very much.
He's resourceful.
No, kill him quick.
Kill him first before he kills you.
What other kind of games do you play on there? So you guys, it's all tabletop and board games.
Well, there's
right?
a cool company called Titan. They're like a subdivision of Pressman Toys.
Okay,
do a lot of board games, and they have a game called Shit Happens, which I kind of told you about. It's more like adult games in the world of like Cards Against Humanity type world.
Yeah.
They had a game called Friend or Foe, which you really learn a lot about your group, your game group, because you got to tell a lot of truth, and you can play a bullshit card if you think they're lying, just so you can get a point and take one from them.
Yeah.
So we play a lot of adult games, but we go all the way. Like we do these sessions that we haven't aired yet. It's a bunch of impressionists, stand-up comics and impressionists, and I make them play Clue. But every round they got to be a different character, and they can't break character or they lose their turn. We have house rules, so
you got to play like Professor Plum, or you have to like just like
or no, you have to do like Christopher Walken.
Just do Christopher Walken as Professor Plum, or we have this girl Lauren O'Brien who does an amazing Owen Wilson, like better than any guy I've ever heard. And so we always make her do that one.
Owen Wilson
Her Angelina Jolie is so scary you can't even maintain eye contact because she becomes like weirdly hotter. Like it's weird. So it's a good game to shoot because it's a lot of laughs, stuff like that. Like we've even talked, Mac and I, about just doing Battleship, old school Battleship, talking trash and seeing who can win.
Yeah, I just show you the Mac is the best at games show. Look, yes, I have my own mini show.
I will accept the challenge.
It's called the Totally Mac Show. Yes, I have to show it to you.
Well, our introduction to gaming was on World of Warcraft. I had just left.
Did you play? Were you playing with Mac?
We were a group of 5.
You guys were you guys were part of the group.
I was the only healer in the group.
Yeah, he was.
I like feeling needed.
I'm sure.
I had just left EverQuest, and EverQuest 2 I didn't enjoy as much, so I
were
went
a refugee.
Into a refugee. I was a Captain America when all the wars were over. I was a man without a country.
Yeah.
And the only storyline they won't make into a movie, but they'll kill him first. But I don't
think they'll make the one where he was a Nazi either.
I hope not.
Yeah,
me neither.
So I start the game, and you gain experience even by exploring areas you've never seen before. And back then, you had to travel by flying bird, Griffin, and it would take you from place to place, but you had to find these locations. And so Max says, he types to me, "Hey man, I'll help you. I'll help you unlock some locations." My guy's level 1. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's taking me to higher level areas where I'm relying on him to keep me alive.
So you can EXP up.
Any bad guy there is going to just smash me in one shot. So he goes, just go on auto follow, and then you'll be good. You'll just stay right behind my guy.
I'll unlock all these. Yeah, like all these.
Yeah. So I type
ins
in
and mailboxes for you.
I type in Mac's name, which is Cool Guy McGee or whatever it was, and then I type /follow. And my character, I'm just hands off, and now he's following. My little guy's name was Metaxa because it was this like Greek brandy that we used to get thrashed on. And so we called him Meta. And so he's following. I'm like, man, this is so cool, dude. Like I'm seeing this whole new world. And Mac's going out to these like fjords, right? These like cliffs on the side, and I can see all these sick graphics. And I'm like, damn, dude, the sun sets. That's so crazy. And then he makes a hard turn at the edge on purpose. which then makes my character on auto follow miss the turn
and fall off the cliff.
Now you have to have someone be able to resurrect you in order to get your body back. So now I'm
To
stuck.
respawn it all in the game?
No,
Or I can go all the way.
Okay, sure,
graveyard
sure.
and then run all the way
and then
back.
I would have to run out, which would take an hour.
And plus, also, then there's all these evil things.
Yeah, and you're
like,
level 1, so you're
between
not
you-
going to get
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Literally,
Yeah.
my
You're
level
gonna
was
lose
so
all your
low.
shit.
I was leveling just from like exploring,
exploring,
things. Like
yeah.
that's how low level he was. So now I gotta wait like 20 minutes. Like legit 20 minutes for another homie to come and help me out to resurrect me. So from that moment on, it was game on.
It was game
like we
on,
played
yeah.
video games. We used to play Soul Calibur 2. My best guy is Keelik, so no matter what, I'm Keelik, and that's your ass with the bow staff. Like I will never play nice or kind. We'll be smiling, but the whole time it's
we go after each
you're gonna
other.
die.
I'm
Stuff.
learning that Mac's video game strategy is not to win the game as much as it is to fuck over his friends while they're
Well,
playing.
it's here's
the
the
same with
thing.
Toe Jam and Earl, right?
Is that the same thing?
So it was my my godfather who doesn't know anything about video games, but he's been around us this whole time, our whole lives and stuff. And Kieran, who's a big gamer, I mean, he still has a wall of games, and
He's good.
He's good too. And he asked our godfather Steve. He goes, "Who's the best video game player in the family?" And Steve thinks about it for a little while, and he goes, "Well, Kieran's probably the best player, but Mac always figures out a way to win." Look, and that's really what it is.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
That's what I'll break the game to win.
Maybe not always. You'll sacrifice. You'll take losses to get a win that will make them never want to play.
Well,
you
exactly.
again.
Yeah. Kieran's like, yeah, you make the games not fun anymore.
Yeah, it's like a Kobe Bryant.
That's your
thing.
way of winning is to just make it not fun for the other people.
And in Street Fighter 2, all I would do was like, with Chun-Li, and it's like, I did one fucking button. I was always the high punch kind of thing, and I'd always just be tossing people around, and it was like just
Man,
like
I'll
it was
Chun-Li.
it was no fun, Yeah. All right, whatever.
No fun
I heard
zone
that.
starts.
But I always like
too.
that because that always works in board. That was like the risk philosophy, right? Like you don't worry about getting Asia or Russia and all that. You get Australasia,
Micronesia, and you just
Micronesia,
build up and build up and
exactly.
build up.
And then you can destroy when you want. But like if we were to play Monopoly, I guarantee you, like on our games, you're allowed 60 seconds to negotiate if you land on someone's property, and you can work out deals in 60 seconds. But both people have to say yes, or someone says no within that, or the turn's over.
The defaults. Yeah.
So if that was Mac and I, and we like, I would work with Mac to smash on. I'd be like, dude, I have Park Place and Boardwalk. You never have to pay until everyone else is gone.
Yeah.
But then you got to pay double.
Exactly.
And we would negotiate this
Like
thing
that kind of
so
thing.
that people would be like, yo, they're working against us, but they still just want to fuck each other over
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
end. So just
Yeah.
do it now. But that's kind of how both our brains work.
Finagle.
Let's kill everyone else and then kill each other last.
Yes, that's
basically.
pretty much like
it's
a-
like
like
a Royal,
Oregon
it's like a
Trail.
Royal Rumble. It's like all right,
It's like a Royal Rumble. It always goes back to wrestling.
always.
By the way, it's my favorite pay-per-view, Royal Rumble.
Absolutely,
Mine too.
all the time, every year.
I have all these great bets like that we do. We do
The prop
Yeah.
bets for the Rumble are
Yeah,
freaking
they're
great.
fun. They're fun.
Yeah. It's like,
The
how
bingo
many
balls. Right?
Yeah, I have like ping pong balls. and
By
you
the
pull
way,
them.
did you see the world's greatest Royal Rumble?
Yeah,
You mean-
we did a
you mean
live
the
stream of
greatest
it.
Royal Rumble. Yeah, we actually did a live stream of it.
We did
That
a
was
live
the
stream
worst
on
Royal
YouTube.
Rumble I've ever seen in my life. They
I
didn't tell a single story. Now, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but I will say this. They got a big fat ass check
Oh fuck yeah!
for bringing that there. And to put it in perspective, Tom Brady got $60 million for going there and talking. You know they got more than that.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
No, they got more
And
money than
they
God for that.
just cashed that in, and
Yep.
they were like, yo, go do your thing.
Hey, every belt
Take
is
care,
on
fellas.
the line. Also, no belts are going to change.
You guys can make a belt up and give it to Braun.
Yeah.
He'll never
Holy shit, I
wear
forgot
it.
about that. He got
Yeah.
that green fucking belt with the
Gave
palm
him a-
trees on it.
Yeah, man. Like they
Yep.
were like, "Thank you for your check."
How come Brock hasn't?
Peace.
How come Braun hasn't defended that belt yet?
That's the storyline
Right?
we should write.
That's actually
There's got to
funny.
be a wrestler who's young and hungry who's like, "Hey,
I want that belt.
you have a title that's not being challenged, and I want a shot."
Oh yeah, it was like Ty Dillinger or
Braun
something.
could let him win. Braun could let him win, and Ty Dillinger could be the perfect 10.
Defended once a year when they go to
It
Saudi.
wasn't Dubai. It was Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia,
They can and they can defend the belt once a year when they go to Saudi Arabia and they don't bring women.
On paper, that card
Dude,
was
that was
amazing. That card was amazing on paper.
Yeah,
It's a super card.
but it was all
looked-
paper.
Yeah. Exactly. It was all paper.
Yes.
It was really
There
disappointing.
was nothing in the ring but jet lag and dismay. None of those wrestlers
in
gave a
135
fuck.
degree heat. You know what I mean?
Yo.
Yeah.
but they got paid.
Yeah, Jericho was there for what, like a cup of coffee.
Yo,
Jericho's doing crazy
Jericho
shit
and
right now.
Mysterio
He's
were
great.
there, and now they're both in New Japan.
I
man.
know.
He's doing this like
killing it.
Brandon Lee the Crow
I
kind of
know.
rock
It's
star
funny,
thing.
but he's still wearing a scarf.
Cyberpunk fucking
love it.
makeup.
Dude, I love Jericho.
Me too,
Us too, man.
I
Yeah.
was
Big time.
I was fortunate enough to do his podcast a few years ago, and he was super nice. And we were just in a hotel by the airport, and he's just. I never really got to work with him, but we would talk a lot when I was there because he would come in and out
Yeah.
of the company. Even then, he's just such a cool guy,
Yeah.
and he treats everybody just as cool as he treats me. If you're someone out there that he shit on, then you were probably a dick because I'm telling
But he
you,
treats
man,
everyone
I've
equal.
seen him
Yeah.
treat like the people who build the ring the same as he treats me. People who come up and ask for an autograph the same as me. The dude at the hotel, I saw him check in. I got there, I was early. Treats him the same as he's just a good dude,
goes a
man.
long way,
and,
right?
and he plays
Yeah.
such a. I love him as a heel. I always hate him as a babyface, but I love
Yeah.
Jericho as a heel because he's just such an insecure prick, and it's the best.
You know what's
dude.
funny, guys? We've talked about growing up and getting older and all that sort of stuff. And what I realized in the last few years is I used to love an asshole. All I wanted someone was to be like a cool asshole.
They got away with everything.
Yeah.
the good guys only won on pay-per-view.
100%.
If you were broke, you always pulled for
Or
the bad guy.
just in life in general too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And as I get older, the appreciation I have for like nice dudes, like
Has gone
if
up,
someone's
yeah.
nice, I'll go like, wow. What a nice, like the fact I would never register a nice person back in the day. You know what I mean?
sure.
Yeah,
You
you wouldn't
really
clock 'em, yeah.
appreciate like
Because you've met enough dicks.
exactly, and you know
Yeah.
how hard it is to be nice, kind of.
Yeah.
And you go, if
and at a
someone's-
certain point, you go, hey, man, the nice guy's talent's almost as good as yours, dick. So we're going to go with him.
absolutely.
Bro, that's how I booked Star Wars Rebels. Disney didn't want me. They had their guy. And Dave Filoni asked Seth. I read, and Dave was like, hey, I really like this guy. And Seth put me over and was like, no, dude, he's a super nice guy. Boom, got the job. Because I was a nice
It
guy.
matters. I've had a lot of talent.
You're a good guy.
I've had a lot of very talented friends who were not nice guys and stopped working because of that fucking reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can get over being a dick. Sometimes you can, but I don't recommend it.
Yeah, by the grace of God, here I
I
am.
mean, Mac's been working.
Matt's been cultivating
You fucking
it.
shill.
You fucking shill over here.
Real quick, video game wise, Matt.
Because you introduced me to the Call of Duty series, I never really touched that. Like,
Yes.
Mac has not owned a next gen console ever, right? What's the last
Yeah.
console you've owned?
the 360. I mean,
Oh, did you have an
Oh,
Xbox?
the original one.
you
yeah.
did have
No,
an
no, I had a
Xbox,
360.
though. Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Did you
no,
play-
I played
Oh, I
all
didn't know
the
that.
Halos, and we played the Call of
We
Duties.
used to do
Okay.
big old matches at that.
Yeah. I remember I would steal your and Call of Duty. I would steal your presents essentially. What are they called?
Oh, yeah. The essence,
the
whatever
perks
it
and
was.
You mean the like when the
package, yeah.
the airdrops and shit like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
My
I
favorite-
remember I stole one of yours, and you got fucking.
Speaking of fucking,
Well, yeah.
see, I'm not a very competitive like online gamer, so I like to have fun in games too, right? So the big thing with Call of Duty when I used to play was I would just do the thing where you would just stand in front of someone and not let them walk past you.
Well, they can go through you now.
Oh fuck! See,
Yeah,
I
sure.
loved it back in the day when I was just making people frustrated.
just bumping into people.
See,
Yeah.
I only play hardcore modes on Call of Duty where friendly fire hits. So when there are guys that do that, you just bank and they're dead. You just go through. But that's the only way that I play those. Now, I will ask you this: like, what was the last Call of Duty you played? Probably Modern Warfare 2.
Probably, yeah. I actually got the special edition, and it came with the night goggles. Oh, that's the night vision
that's
goggles,
actually really
which I still have.
That's actually
they
really
fucking
cool.
eat batteries like nobody's
They
business.
really work?
But it's no, they fucking work.
that's awesome.
I still have
That's
my
so-
place in New York.
that's
It's
awesome.
That's so
just turn off
cool.
all the lights and walk around with this big old headset on.
So that's still my favorite one
That was-
because I felt like it was the last time they gave a
Yeah, I
fuck about
stopped
the
caring
single
with it.
player.
I only like the campaign,
storyline.
right? And so I would even recently, even up until 6 months ago, I'd see a red box, a new Call of Duty came out, and I would rent it for the campaign. They last like 4 hours now, and they're not
And the
fun.
storylines are horrible.
suck.
They put Kevin Spacey in one, and I'm like,
Yup.
right on, he's a badass actor, but this story fucking blows. So I only play multiplayer on it until this latest one came out, which
Is it
was
good?
World War II. Because
The World War II one's fun.
They put the whole storyline directly connected to factual battles
That's
and
cool.
battalions that actually fought in them.
Oh,
So
cool.
you actually are
Like
in the
Stalingrad or
battle
whatever.
of the Bulge.
Yeah.
And you're
in Bastogne.
what
Yeah,
stops
yeah.
the tanks. You're the front
That's
line.
fucking
That's cool.
So they give you that opportunity, which is a huge step up.
Because they did Worlds at War or something
Yeah.
like that.
But it was
Like,
always
that's the one that had Nazi
their-
zombie in it, and that was fucking
They have
dope.
Nazi zombies in this one too.
Oh,
Do
see,
you
I'm
guys
all about the
remember-
Nazi zombies.
Freddie, do you remember the Medal of Honor franchise?
Of course.
So that was this. It was like not that fun, but very historically accurate. Like
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg produced like World War II game.
This gave that feel, so I thought it was a nice throwback. That said,
cool.
I don't know how long they'll stick with that. I'm sure they're going to go. The new Modern
Sure.
Warfare is getting ready to come out, but they usually it's two companies that make the game,
Activision and
two different- yeah.
Treyarch. Or
Okay,
it
yeah,
used to
yeah.
be Treyarch, now it's someone else. And I never remember which one I like more, but one of them makes it
When
better
the
than the other.
Because I
It's
love
one of them.
I love the Assassin's Creed games, and
Yeah.
they just did the E3 preview for the new one, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh, it's the same game as the one I just played, and also it doesn't look as great. And I went,
Oh, no.
it's 2 studios in development at the same time. That's exactly what happened.
Oh, they're doing that too.
Yes.
I love their Black Flag one.
I love the Black Flag.
I'm a
I love
sucker
the
for
Egypt.
pirate games.
Me too, dude.
Ever since Sid Meier's Pirates
Did you
on the Apple II, whatever. I was all
Sid
in.
Meier stuff.
when you
like,
get some time, watch a trailer for Skull and Bones. It premiered at E3. Oh, you watched it
Already
already?
saw. I will say this, dude.
I haven't
It
watched the
looks
E3
just
stuff
like the
yet.
fighting in Assassin's Creed. It just looks like every other naval fighting game ever.
That was more dialogue
Oh my god.
than I've ever.
Oh my fucking god.
had to listen to.
Oh my god.
Like they.
The presentation.
Description of being a pirate.
It was like this British voice.
It was like Tom Hardy. That's what they tried. The guy looked
Yeah.
like him too. Yeah.
And basically everything you're seeing on screen, I'm going to tell you in this voice, and I'm never going to stop, even if it's a simple wave rippling.
And every time,
Let me mention, this wave is rippling. Like, I'm sitting there like, yo, I got to mute this. It looks amazing, but this is a horrible
and it's
trailer.
also-
I bet it's a fun game,
But it's a horrible
but the trailer was
because
awful.
every time you see, they're like, "Oh no, here comes a Portuguese man of war.
You sound just like him, too.
you can't possibly take that on yet. Run away!" Like every challenge
my
they
God.
show you in the trailer is like, "You're not strong enough for this." Get the
And then
fuck
you're
out.
running away.
all the shit you can't do.
Yes, that's what the trailer was.
But it has a very realistic feel to
Yes.
it, which I always like.
I want to be a pirate.
Yeah, you like pirates.
Yeah.
Yo, dude, I play Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
Like nobody. Look, this is the best / worst game ever.
I'm gonna do your recommendation. I'm gonna check it out.
I'll
It seems-
play with you. We can
I'm
be on the
down.
same
I'm
shit,
down, yeah.
and I can like show you the ropes, but it doesn't always guarantee success.
Because I've seen some gameplay videos friends have posted of them like stuck in prison cells, unable to get out, and like, glitchy and like.
So if you're on a galleon, there's 2 ships
Okay.
right now. There's about to be 3. One of them can hold 4 people, 3 or 4, and one can only hold 1 or 2. They're getting ready to do a third boat that can hold just a 3-man crew
Okay.
if you want. But the galleon, which is the 4-man crew,
Yeah.
if one of the players is acting like a dick and not doing
put
what
him in
they're
a
supposed
brig.
to
Put him in the
do,
brig.
all players can vote and they get stuck in the brig. So that now sometimes people are just dicks and they
And
put
leave
whoever
you in
like
there. Yeah.
logged in. They go, ah, fucking ha ha ha. But that's part of being a pirate. Sure. So last
Fair
night
enough.
I was online. I was just going solo. And I had made like probably 13,000 in gold, which is a good haul for a solo ship. And I'm running from galleons the whole time. I'm on a sloop, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you go upwind, you can get away from them because they're heavier. But if they have any wind, that's your ass, and you are fucking done.
And all your gold is.
They will
fucked,
take
right?
it
Yeah,
all,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you will spawn on the other side of the map.
it's
and
called
as you
plunder.
should be. Plunder. Yes, it is. So
I know pirate talk.
I have some chests on my boat, and my man texts me, goes, "Hey man, I can't sleep. Are you playing Pirates?" I said, "Are you playing Sea of Thieves?" We call it Pirate. And I said, "Yeah, man." And he goes, "All right, invite me." So I can invite anyone who has the
your-
game,
yeah.
and they can get credit for all the gold I have.
Oh, that's dope. So you
Yeah.
can bring anyone into your fucking
At
mission
any
or
time,
loot.
you
Yeah,
might be
yeah.
in trouble and be like, "Yo, man, I need somebody to work the sales. This guy's trying to kill me. Help me out." And your buddy's like, "Yeah, okay, I'm coming." And then they just
Oh,
jump
that's
in.
dope. Yeah, yeah.
So we sell some treasure, we go out, and we get a haul that like any gamer would just be jealous of. Like we had like 4 captain's chests. We had all these like rare wash-up items. We had puzzle piece skulls, like everything that's worth the most money. The boat is just full to the brim, and we see a galleon. And it has white sails, so we think maybe they're a noob, right? But they're coming straight at us, and I have to turn around, right? Because I have to go upwind, and now they're chasing us, and it's on. And we sail towards this island, and their sails are on the wrong side because I'm going upwind, but I'm going to turn hard, and when I do, my sails will be ready, and they have 3 sails to turn, right? So as soon as we get to this island, and they start trying to cut us off, I flip a U-turn, right, and just haul ass. And I slowly see them come around. So we got away.
They're
from
still chasing you.
yeah, but we're away. Oh, we're a ways
Yeah,
away.
yeah.
So we go by this island. My man jumps off the boat with a chest, sells it, mermaids back to the ship because there's mermaids. And we've gotten rid of one. They're still coming.
So you still,
Now
You're just dumping your.
Well, we don't know what we're gonna do because it's our ass.
you're trying to go from port to port though, and just
basically,
doing that. You know,
but
yeah.
we can only go against wind. So if they have wind, they'll run us
You're
down
fucked.
so
Yeah,
fast.
yeah.
So we're in a pickle, right?
Yeah.
So we have something called gunpowder barrels on board, and we keep them up in the crow's nest because if they blow up, they sink your ship. They're in the crow's nest, you're good. We have 3 of them. You can kind of use them as depth charges if you're
I was
clever.
just about to say,
Most
yeah.
people use them to kill groups of skeletons. They set them out, use it as a trap, shoot it, boom, kill everything. My man goes, "Hey man, we're gonna depth charge these guys." Like, okay. So we come up to the next island. I turn hard. He jumps off the boat with a gunpowder barrel so they can't see him on the blind side of the boat. He swims underwater. Your name doesn't come up when you're underwater. They can't see you. He's swimming. I jump on the back of the boat. I'm now watching.
And I have to see this.
And I'm telling you, I can watch the whole thing. And I'm like, dude, you're straight at him, and they do not see you. And he's laughing while he goes, dude, I don't know if I can do it. I'm laughing too hard. And I say, make sure you let it go deep so you have time to get away. And he goes, nah, man.
No, fuck it. He
goes, I'm going suicide bomber. We can't risk missing. I go, do your thing, bro.
Right.
He'll just mermaid back to the ship if he dies.
Yeah.
So he goes straight into him. Pop. They get 4 holes. I get this crazy idea because they're right behind us. I'm like, there's nothing in front of us. He's about to respawn on my ship. I go, fuck these guys.
You grab the other one?
No, I just jump off the ship, swim to their ladder, climb up the ladder. There's 3 of them. They're all down in the hull, right?
Trying to get the water out or whatever. Yeah.
I turn their wheel hard right towards the island.
You scuttle them?
Yo, I run down. There's a guy on the second level. There's 3 levels to the boat. Second level, patching up a hole. Blunderbuss to the back of the head. Bang! Sword, boom. He's now dead. The other guys are coming up. I run up to the top level of the ship, climb in their cannon, shoot myself out into the middle of the ocean, and mermaid back to my own ship. My man Nick has respawned on our boat. He goes, where are you? I go, look at their ship and tell me what's happening, because I'm super far, right?
Yeah, you're just swimming away.
Sharks have come. They're eating me. I die. Okay? Now I'm in the ferry of the damned waiting to respawn, and I'm just getting play-by-play. He goes, dude, you ran them right into an island. Dude, they're sinking. They're sinking. Dude, they're sinking. They're sinking. So now we go by, and their boat is gone, but one of their guys all their guys are alive. I kill one, but he respawned. Now, if you die and your boat is sunk, that's when you spawn somewhere else, like on the other side of the planet. Yeah. So now there's 3 guys there and a mermaid. All they can do is spawn to the other side or try to get us. So 3 guys are now swimming
towards your guys'
toward
boat.
our ship, and we're just doing emotes like waving, sleeping, doing all this shit, and then we sail and we end up selling our shit. So when people talk to me about the game not having content, I agree. But that's
you just made a lot of fucking.
It's a you issue.
Yeah, you have a story.
It's not a game issue.
You not being creative enough.
It's a you issue. Like, we kill people differently every time we play.
You fired yourself out of a fucking cannon,
bro. It's hysterical, and you're like, Bro, we saw this one guy. We parked on the back of an island, walked through this cave, and out the other end there was a boat just in a lagoon, and we didn't know. We weren't trying to be jerks, right? And I see this guy, and he's bringing a chest to his ship, and he jumps off, and he's swimming away from me. I'm in the dark in this cave, and I'm like, Nick, what should we do? He's like, fuck him, kill him. Right? Nick's more pirate than me, right?
Yeah.
So I go up
He's a scurvy devil.
I go up to the guy's ship. I raise his anchor, right? I turn his boat around. Okay. He's out searching for treasure.
I love that most of this
I drop
game.
his sail. I take the only chest he had on there. I take it off, and his boat just
and just starts sailing away.
sails away. Homeboy,
it's like his parking brake wasn't on or
Yo,
something.
dude,
Like,
homeboy's running down the dock with a chest. Okay. And he's looking at, and now you can hear people if you're in game chat and not party chat. And I hear him go, what the fuck? And he goes, I'm cannons up, which means he's peaceful. He had his cannons facing the sky. And I literally, on mic, I go, dude, I didn't even look. I'm sorry. He's yelling at me. My man Nick comes up behind him, shoots him, takes the other chest while he's yelling at me, and just goes on game. He goes, let's get the fuck out of here, bro. We just split.
So let's wrap up this podcast. Let's all
gotta
get
play.
this game.
That is so
dude,
piratey.
You just fucking
so
stole
piratey.
Is this PC or what
You
is
can
this?
play on PC or Xbox, and it's cross-platform.
It's Steam with
Oh,
Steam, right?
It's the first time Xbox has ever done this. You have
Awesome.
a huge advantage if you're a
dig it.
PC player, because the point and click makes it so much
I'm gonna
easier
play
to
on this
shoot.
Alienware
Cool.
over here.
But
But yeah, we can cross
yeah.
stream.
If you have
I'm down to be a
Xbox, yeah.
pirate. Look,
Yeah,
Look,
let's
I'll
all-
play
let's
the
all
console,
start a
and also
Bunny
gotta
Ears
play some
pirate
baseball
crew.
with you
My
too.
pirate is like, by the way, you're the relief pitcher in Super Mega Baseball 2, and you gave me a strong 7-8 inning after Jerry Ferrara gave up 5 runs. 5 runs in 6 innings. thing, so I had to put them on a bench. Brought you in. You saved us. Man.
You're welcome.
buddy.
You're welcome.
Good job.
Yeah, we should wrap up.
We'll
Wrap
see you
it.
in Pirate Land. Freddie, this was awesome, dude. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
And we'd love
Thanks
to
for
have
the
you
invite.
again, man.
You
You're
fucking
a fucking
shill.
conversation machine.
We should always like share
let's
and come
do
play
this.
games with us, and
Absolutely.
Yeah,
we'll
exactly.
come hang with
Absolutely,
you guys. We
dude.
should always
Yeah,
like
yeah,
hook
yeah.
each
we should
other
play
up.
some pirates.
Arr,
You're me hardy.
And where can people find all your stuff right now? Because you got a lot going on.
You can go to youtube.com/Geghead. That's egghead with a G. We do a ton of funny like superhero comedy skits, parody stuff like that. We do games, video games, shit like that. You can always hit me on Instagram if you want, but I'm not like a social guy on that. But on Twitter, it's @realfpjr, and I try to talk to everybody.
And your podcast?
Podcast Prinze and the Wolf. It's on iTunes, or you can also check that out, the video versions of it on Geghead. We have like probably 10 now because we just started videoing them a while ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, check us out on there. Josh Wolf at Josh Wolf Comedy on Facebook Live. He also has a show called Controlled Chaos, which is hysterical, and they get a couple 100,000 live views every time they do it. So if you're not watching that and you want to laugh, he has funny ass people on there, way funnier than me. And the Walmart.
You'd hope.
The
they were
Walmart
funny.
cowboy person was on the night out, and I'd never seen him before. And I was so scared. But yeah, so check that out too. And if you see me in video games, it's Cheeks space Jr. Cheeks Jr.
Yeah, watch out because he's going to do fucked up shit to you.
If you got something for me, bring it.
He'll take your chests.
I'm on the things at Camel Toad. You can hit us up on Twitter, Bunny Ears Pod, Instagram, Bunny Ears Podcast. Call us. We do voicemails, y'all.
Yeah,
And
call
that
us.
number
That's cool.
is
Yeah.
845-EZE-HOAX.
Yeah, what's that number
Don't
again?
believe the lie. 845-393-4629. Bunnyears.com. As always, we got daily content, articles, merch.
all the merch.
Colks, where you at, kid?
I'm at Incredible Culk on the Twitters and at Culkamania on the Instagrams.
That's it. And how do we wrap up this beautiful adventure we go on every week?
We let you guys know that try not to suck too many dicks, but if you do, send us some pics.
Send them to some pirates.
Yeah, say yarg me hardy.
Pirate dick pics.
Find me, gag me, take me to the bunny ranch. Find me.
Hi guys, hi Matt and Matt. You forgot one of the biggest balders, Billy Corgan. We talked about Smashing Pumpkins. That's it. Love the show.
Ah! Sorry. Just trying to get Mac back for all the times my eardrums got busted. Bros, where the hell are the podcasts at? I work a boring-ass job. I need to drown it out by listening to all the bunny ears that I can. Love you guys.
Yeah, this message is for Edward Cohen and Meckle Leckle High, Meckle Heiny Heiny Ho. Love you guys and stuff. Where's Stuart P. Smithsonian from Ohio? More of that, please. Bye, buddy ears.
A Bunny Ears LLC production.
You are freaking lumberjack!